Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Know. I'm Mark Crosby of Quincy Access Television. I want to thank you, as always, for joining me in the studio here. In the Know is a program basically that helps to keep you informed on a variety of topics. My guest today is a frequent guest here on this program. That would be the Norfolk County Sheriff, Patrick McDermott. So, Sheriff, as always, a pleasure to have you in the QATV studios. You come in to our studios, but this program goes throughout Norfolk County.
Lasting around, this is 3 years running. I think we're coming up on 3 years officially. So I took, I'm in my fourth year in office, but and I think it was about 3 years solid. We've started these shows, and a lot of feedback from people around the county, because I know it goes out to other people outside of Quincy, and which is great. It's a great resource and helps me from running around too much and saying the same thing over and over again. So
we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to start with the Hope Center, and it's basically the four pillars that guide the mission at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office.
I always tell the story that we started off my campaign for sheriff on the back of a napkin, literally, at a coffee shop. And when my campaign folks were asking me, well, why do you want to be sheriff? You know, what are the principles that guide you towards running? And the back of that napkin said prevention, intervention, education, and hope. And each one of those became a pillar for our organization on all of the programming that we do and the mission that the Sheriff's Office does, and particularly the care and custody of inmates that come under my guidance. Our prevention programs are largely for hoping people that will help people stop preventing them from getting into crime in the first place. So kids, seniors, we do programs for veterans, and those preventative programs are really important in terms of cutting down on those issues that drive people towards criminal behavior. And the intervention piece is clearly getting involved when criminal activity takes place. We work with our trial court to make sure if there's any diversion opportunities that we can place people in. And then education. Education is the foundation by which we build a lot of our programming within the jail and outside of the jail. But when we educate somebody and give them the skills that they need to function in our community, all of a sudden that leads to that fourth pillar, because it ends up being a spark, and that's called hope. And that fourth pillar kind of, we were saying, it's nice that it kind of crescendos to that. However, we also determine that hope, while great, isn't enough unless you have a continuum of care put in place. So one of the things we decided to do is we wanted to make sure that there was a place that people could go, whether you're a returning citizen coming out from the jail, or whether you're somebody who is having a problem in the day-to-day operations of your particular life. And so we came up with the Hope Center idea, a standalone facility where people can go and receive what the HOPE and acronym stands for: healing, opportunity, purpose, and engagement. And it's a continuation of support that people need, especially those coming out of jail. And it's a one-stop shop. And I want to expand. The Hope Center isn't just a standalone service that provides all these services that people need. We first and foremost partner up with the numerous social service agencies, all the nonprofits, our faith-based institutions that combat some of the societal issues that affect people and cause some people to go to criminal behavior, whether it's Father Bill's Place that deals with homelessness issues, or Interfaith Social Services that focuses on poverty issues and food insecurity. We make sure that we have partnerships out in the community throughout the county, that the Hope Center is a place that people can go as a one-stop place where we do individualized plans for people and then use those services that we know about that we're in partnership with to solve the different problems that those people might have. So we're very happy and fortunate that all of those social service agencies that we partnered with, and there's numerous, and there's probably 100 social service agencies that we have. All of those agencies stand alone to help people in their worst places in life And so the Hope Center in Braintree, which is where it's going to be located, will be that standalone facility where people can come and get the services they need. We have clinicians on board that will help out. We have an intake form that really gets to know the individual, and it's once again, it's a no judgment zone. We don't judge people as to why they're there. We just know that we're here to get them to the next level of where they want to take themselves.
Sure, because if you start judging, then that would turn people away.
Correct. And this is a welcoming place. I think we've built it out that way too. It's not an institutional looking place. It's actually a home that people can really come and get some serious work taken care of with compassionate people on the other side helping them out get there.
And there will be a ceremony on April 26th at 9 a.m.
And we're inviting anybody and everybody to come to see this new facility, April 26th. We've invited a lot of our elected officials. We've invited some of our social service partners. And we want members of the community to come see it because it's their taxpayer money that's being invested. And we believe it's tax money well spent because with this Hope Center, we're hoping to see a reduction in crime, a reduction in recidivism, and less people going to jail.
Well, I think, I know we've talked about this in the past. It's so different than jails of the past in that there really wasn't anything set up for the folks once they came out of the system.
Yeah, I mean, there was punishment was basically the preamble of our criminal justice system. You commit a crime, you get prosecuted, you get convicted, you get sentenced, and sentencing was a punishment. And you would go to jail and you would serve out your time. Oftentimes angry, quite frequently you're lonely, you're sad, upset, with nothing much to do other than get into more trouble while you're in jail. And we've changed that all around over the last decade or so. 21st Century Corrections is all about rehabilitation, focusing on the individual, dealing with mental health, substance use disorder, and education programs. And once again, that all brings us back to hope.
There are some, or there is some information, contact information that we should
Yeah, so we have a website, which is in preliminary stages. No judgment, please, but it's just starting out, and it's hopecenterma.org. And you can send us an email at info@hopecenterma.org. And you can call us too and speak to somebody live, 781-751-3393. And you can speak with somebody. And if you're having any kind of crisis situation, you don't have to be an incarcerated person, formerly incarcerated. Anybody that's in our community that needs help and guidance, we want you to come by and meet our people.
Very good. A shout out to my director today, Ryan McWade, for getting that information onto the screen.
Superstar behind the scenes.
Something I didn't do and he did, so thank you very much. The Senate Ways and Means Committee hearing, and we will actually have a photo of you at that hearing in just a moment.
So every year all the sheriffs have to go in front of the Senate and House Ways and Means committees to justify our budget, justify to the taxpayers' representatives as to where we're spending our money and why we're spending it that way. And so I serve as vice president of the Sheriff's Association of Massachusetts. And that was one of my roles, is to go and advocate for the 14 sheriffs' budgets. In particularly mine, but across the board. And it basically gives us an opportunity to showcase some of and highlight some of the things that the sheriffs are doing around the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that certainly are cutting edge 21st century corrections. And it doesn't come without controversial issues. And a couple of items that we did talk about, which was a mandate that came from the legislature, which is a significant impact on our budget, is no-cost communication. What came about as a result of legislation passed is that the communication program, whether it's phone calls, text messaging, video messaging, which at one point was a charge to the inmate, is now a free service. And the intent of the legislation is clear and it's worthy. And that's so that folks who are incarcerated can stay in touch with their loved ones, can actually have communication with the outside world, family and friends, so that their ability to function within the facility is better. And I think communication, that's key. We all agree on that. The disconnect comes on the cost associated with it. And we knew that once we opened the floodgates to this as sheriffs, we knew that this would be show an exponential spike in the amount of phone calls being made from the facility. So there is a cost associated with that. And we're already showing since December of 2023, about $1 million is going to go. It's going to end up being about $1.5 million to $2 million a year just in Norfolk County alone. The legislature put aside $20 million in a trust fund for the state, and that includes the 14 sheriff's office as well as the Department of Corrections. We're going to blow through that very quickly. So unintended consequences are, it's kind of interesting because we've heard from family members who say, we love hearing from our loved one. However, sometimes it's too excessive. So now there's almost too much phone calls back and forth. So we have to figure out a way to balance all that out. And, I just want the taxpayers to know that, that there's a cost associated with it. And right now, we are figuring out how best to see that paid for. And at the same time, we're also trying to make sure that the program itself is efficient. And once again, all these calls are recorded as well. So we do get a lot of intelligence out of it too. So unfortunately, sometimes they forget who they're talking to, and sometimes we do. For our benefit, we get access to drugs being access to the facility, and conspiracies on how to sneak things into the facility. So it works both ways, and it works in our favor. The other thing similarly is our commissary. Most people don't know what commissary is, but I explain it like going to 7-Eleven or Cumberland Farms. You're going in there to get some specialty items. You want to get a candy bar, you want to get a soda, you want to get some specialty products. Well, we have our own kind of miniature version of a 7-Eleven at the facility, where inmates can purchase items that are not readily available to them through the jail. And so we have a national vendor that comes in and offers products at a very, very competitive low rate. And this became a controversy because there was a premium price similar to what you'd buy at 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven buys the goods, they sell it to us. There's a little bit of a premium price so that 7-Eleven makes a profit. So we had a premium commission on all those products, a very small one, but all the monies that we generated through the commission, through selling these products, went back into inmate programming. Well, the legislature decided that was not a good idea, and they started to put limits on the amount of markup that can go into these to the commissary. So right now we're having a controversy now because of the limits that have been placed on the national vendor, whose competitive prices we could never match if we tried to do the commissary on our own. Now they're possibly going to be pulling out totally because it won't be affordable for them to do business in the Commonwealth. So we're trying to work on a few of these things. It's a work in progress. Once again, there's a cost associated that the taxpayers are going to have to absorb, because the amount of money that we made on those on the communications piece, as well as the commissary, those monies go back into inmate programming, which helps us run the jail, helps us educate people so that when they're back on the streets, they're better off in the community. So there is a cost that we're trying to figure out how to absorb.
The current way that it is done is, I suppose, in effect until July 1st?
It comes in July 1st is when the new policy on the commissary comes in place. No cost calling is already in place now. And one of the things we did do on that, and we do make a little bit of a premium fee on extra videos. They can download videos, games, and music. That is still in place, and so we're trying to offset that, the amount of downloads, because each of our inmates do have a tablet that's been issued by the vendor, and so we make a little bit of profit there, and it also helps with the communication piece.
Employee wellness, let's talk about that, because again, that's key.
Yeah, we operate we don't close. The jail is a 24/7, 365 operation. We're open on Christmas, we're open on Easter, we're open on all holidays, and it can be a stressful environment. Certainly, we're not dealing with the nicest clientele, and sometimes the stresses that are involved with our staff, both our correction staff, our medical staff, and our civilian staff. Can be tough, and it can be wearing on those staff members. So we're trying to invest now, and in fact, ironically enough, today, March 25th, that we're filming this week is Wellness Week, and it's recognized by the National Sheriff's Association and various other public safety agencies that it's an investment in wellness programs, and so we're right now focused on how we can provide the best services for our staff and our corrections officers. We do that through innovative programs. We have a great employee assistance program where our staff can contact a third party to talk about some stressors that they might be having. It's remarkably successful. We have a peer-to-peer support group that helps out when stressors come up on the job. And we're also investing in some of the issues in the building, as simple as a new gym. We're now putting it out to the staff what their interests might be, and whether it's cardiovascular equipment or strength training, we're investing in that. We're trying to build out a quiet room where folks can come and do meditation, can take just a break from the day-to-day operations. And all those kind of ideas. We're putting forth kind of a plan as well outside of the facility for our staff to participate in healthy activities. And there's a bunch of ideas, and these ideas have come from the staff themselves. There's a group that wants to put together a sheriff's running group so that they go run. And I've said, hey, look, if you get a running group together, I have plenty of road races that I get asked to participate in, and I'm not a runner, but if I can sponsor a couple of my members of my team in, it provides a healthy. I think I'm going to probably have a sheriff's bike team in place. Somebody suggested even a hiking club up in the Blue Hills. So
you do bike.
I do bike, so I'm going to get a few people that'll be able to do the bike program with me too. So, but all these things go into wellness, both physically, mentally, but also spiritually with the way the team works. And like I said, it's a 24/7 operation. And in any organization, whether you're working in corrections or you're working in media, most of the time it's our colleagues and who become our family. And so you need to relate well with other people, and wellness is something that we want to invest in.
Sounds good. We will kind of continue on that I suppose, subject a bit and talk about, caring, most
Yes.
Definitely. NSO Cares, what is that?
So we talked about earlier about taxpayers, and I always appreciate, the fact that taxpayers pay their money and invest. We have a line item and it's budgeted. But there's so many programs, there's so many things that we get asked to do that sometimes we cannot fund through just our operational budget. So we put forth the option about setting up our own nonprofit organization. And we launched that this year. Actually, we put it together last year, but we've launched it this year, called NSO Cares. NSO is Norfolk Sheriff's Office. Cares, we don't have any real saying as to what CARES stands for. It just means care.
It just sounds
it's NSO Cares, and it really gives us an opportunity to fund those unfunded by taxpayers public safety programs, educational programming, community programming that we do, that have grown to love. The first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting our youth leadership camp under NSO Cares now. So we're able to raise money, we can get sponsors, we can bring in outside vendors to actually help us out, build out those youth leadership programs. Some of those support programs, like the Hope Center, which is now somewhat funded under our taxpayer money, but we're going to make sure that we have extra resources coming in from NSO Cares that will augment the programs that we're doing there. So the services that we're going to be providing for those returning citizens will be part of NSO Cares. There's going to be filling of the gaps, as we call it, in services that are needed to ensure consistent positive path forward for individuals transitioning from different systems. I'm investing now, I think, and I just came off a call last week with some advocates for youth, and not it's emerging adults, I should say. 18 to 24-year-olds, some coming out of the foster care system that typically end up into the criminal justice system. We're going to be investing in some programs for that, transitional housing programs for kids coming out of DYS and coming out of DCF. We want to support other area nonprofits in that. We know that there are housing advocates out there for the homeless populations, and we want to make sure we're investing in some of those programs as well. So NSO Cares will serve that as well. We've talked about this on this program numerous times, is the opioid crisis. It has consistently remained spiking in terms of the amount of people dying from the opioid crisis situation. So we want to continuously reinvest in programs, and there's some great ones out in Norfolk County, but they're also struggling for funds, and we want to just bring the power of the sheriff's office to that cause.
And I guess maybe explain how public-private partnerships would play into this.
So, and that's the beautiful thing. So we want to make sure on a couple of different levels. One is that NSO Cares has its own private board of directors. And so we are looking to really build out our board of directors from the private sector. So we're reaching out to private businesses. And you don't necessarily have to be within some of those realms that we talked about. But if you have an investment in public safety in your mind, you want to invest in public safety, and you have a business and you want to give back, you can either partner up with us financially, or you can actually use your talent and skills on our board. And we're actively looking for people to serve on our board of directors. And if anybody is interested, you can send an email to info@nsocares.org. And that's our website as well, nsocares.org. But those public-private partnerships are very valuable. You know, as I said, the public can't always fund all the by the taxpayers these programs. So we look to the private sector, and we're no different than any other nonprofit. One of the greatest fundraisers I went to recently was Interfaith Social Services, and I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars they raised. But when you look at that room, it was the who's who of the business community that are there, because businesses realize that if you have a safe community, then they're willing to invest in that community. An unsafe community is where you're going to see, the broken windows, the locks on the doors, the bars on the windows. Quincy and Norfolk County is a place that we want to see active participation by our business community as well as our residents, and public-private partnerships bring those two together.
Community outreach. I was at an event that you hosted not too long ago. It was a senior program kickoff. Talk about that. Some of the programs that were in existence are still in existence, and there are some additions.
Yeah, so we took all of our senior programming in the sheriff's office, and this has been going on for a number of years. We've done the senior triad program, the File for Life, Are You OK? We've talked about a lot of these programs, and those aren't going away. But what we ended up doing is when we looked around at the senior programming around the county and what is currently being offered at the various councils on aging, in addition to what we offer, we came up with a curriculum that we thought would be beneficial to seniors. And so my community engagement staff came up with a curriculum, and we did host a kickoff celebration for this new curriculum, which has been received unbelievably well. And we're starting to roll that out in 5 of the 28 communities as we speak. And so we started up locally here in Quincy, Holbrook, Weymouth, I think, Braintree maybe, and Randolph, I think. And we're going to be heading out further and further as the year goes on, so that all 28 towns get to participate in the senior programming. We've got, like I said, the initial feedback is great. Our biggest cheerleaders are down in Holbrook. Wild bunch down in Holbrook that are really excited about it, and but I appreciate QATV coming and filming the kickoff and showing what we're up to.
I know social media and educating folks on social media use what is planned to be part of that.
So the social media portion of it is going to be key. I jokingly said to the seniors, and I'm 55 years old, so I'm a stone's throw away from technically senior citizen status.
As am I.
And seniors these days are a lot more technologically savvy. Some are still a little bit more apprehensive, but we're going to be bringing a whole technology component to this program, whether it's how to use Facebook, how to set up a TikTok account, how to interact with your iPhone, so it utilizes those skills there on a day-to-day basis. How to do FaceTiming with your grandkids, all that fun stuff that makes technology fun and not as nerve-wracking.
Well, I have a 94-year-old uncle that texts quite often, so it can be done.
It can be done.
We'll end with the Vanessa Marcotte Foundation. Briefly explain the genesis of this and what is being done currently.
Great partnership with the Vanessa Marcotte Foundation. Tragically, Vanessa Marcotte herself was killed a few years ago, just out on a simple jog by an assailant who killed her. And through a partnership out in Worcester, they developed, her friends developed the foundation, which goes out to communities and teaches women self-defense techniques and situational awareness. And now we've signed on with the foundation to bring those techniques out to the community. And our next round right now is on April 2nd. It's at Fitness Unlimited in Milton at 364 Granite Avenue. It's going to be starting at 5:45. I think we still have some slots available, so if there's anybody that's looking to sign up for that, you can certainly get on social media with us. The link is on our Facebook page. You can also go to the Vanessa Marcotte Foundation itself, and I think if you look up at Norfolk Sheriff somewhere on there, you'll find a sign-up page for that. But with the feedback we've received, we've had this now 3 or 4 different times over the course of the last year or so. Great feedback on that. And once again, this is another great program that provides public safety services to the people in Norfolk County.
Very good. Well, Sheriff, we're at the end of this program.
Terribly.
We seem to always fill up a half hour, and certainly welcome your return in about a month's time.
We will have more to say in another month.
Very good. I want to thank everyone for watching and continuing to support local access television. Please continue to do so that programs just like this continue. Take care.